for their mother. She had a husband and a child by then and made it clear she had no time. Winnie was single, still in college, and Marge saw no reason why Winnie's plans couldn't be deferred and her dreams put on the back burner. Winnie was the obvious choice of caretaker, and she didn't want to let her mother down. She had always given up so much for them. And Winnie didn't want to abandon her mother in her final months. She loved her and wanted to spend as much time with her as she could. Miraculously, and despite the doctor's dire predictions, her mother had hung on for 7 years and even rallied several times, but never long enough for Winnie to leave again. She fought a noble battle and finally died when Winnie was 27. By then it seemed too late to go back to college. She had a job, a house, a life, and New York and her dreams seemed as if they were on another planet. She was working as a cashier at a restaurant and got a better job at the local printing company after that. She met Rob 4 months after her mother died, and the time had drifted by like a river from then on, carrying her along with it. She didn't need a college degree for the job she had. Her own natural organizational skills and common sense were enough. It was hard to believe she and Rob had been dating for 11 years. She wasn't madly in love with him, but he was familiar and comfortable. They never talked about marriage or the future. They lived in the present, had dinner together on most nights, went to the movies, bowling with friends sometimes. It wasn't what she really wanted, but there was no one else more interesting around. And suddenly she slipped from 27 to 29, then turned 30 at dinner one evening with Marge, Eric, and Rob. Then just as quickly she was 32 and then 35. They'd been together for 10 years when she turned 37. And now she was 38 and couldn't figure out where the years had gone. 11 of them, with Marge reminding her constantly that she needed to get married and start having kids before it was too late. She conveniently forgot that Winnie had spent 7 years, crucial years, taking care of their mother, while Marge claimed she was too busy to help. Winnie wasn't angry about it, but it was a fact of her life. She had sacrificed a big chunk of time, which she'd never get back. She couldn't see herself having kids with Rob either, and he wasn't eager for kids or marriage. He was 39, and most of his friends were getting divorced after 15 and 20 years of marriage. Marge and Eric had a good marriage and seemed happy enough. She knew her sister had had at least one affair, maybe 2, which Marge had never admitted to, but Beecher was small, people talked, and Winnie had guessed. She didn't know if Eric knew or not. He was a good breadwinner and a terrific father who coached Little League for their 2 boys. Winnie couldn't imagine Rob doing that. He had nieces and nephews of his own who didn't interest him much, and he referred to all of them as the Rugrats. Winnie had read in Cosmopolitan magazine once that women couldn't afford dead-end relationships after the age of 28, or they ran the risk of getting stuck in them for years and missing opportunities for marriage and children, possibly until too late to have them. The magazine had warned that you turn 40 before you know it. Her mom had always cautioned her to try to find the right man and settle down before the bloom was off the rose. She wasn't there yet, but she was getting close, with a man who didn't set her heart on fire and took her for granted most of the time, and never told her he loved her. It wasn't exactly a dead-end relationship. It was more of an open-ended one that just kept limping forward through the years without arriving anywhere. She wondered if he would marry her if she made a fuss about it. But she didn't, because she wasn't sure how she felt about it herself. It was a no-frills relationship, a box of candy on Valentine's Day if he remembered, and he almost always forgot her birthday, but would take her out to dinner a few days later, if he had time. She couldn't see the point of getting married unless they wanted kids, and they didn't. She wasn't ready to have babies, and she wanted to figure out what she envisioned for her future first. "Well, you'd better figure it out pretty damn soon," her sister scolded her. "Or you'll wake up one day and be 45 or 50, and it'll be too late, for kids anyway. It happens faster than you think." Marge was 10 years older than Winnie. "I'm only 38, Winnie reminded her. "Yeah, and it seems like just last week you were 28. You won't be young forever, Win." Marge always liked reminding Winnie that she was getting older. It made her feel more comfortable about being middle-aged herself. It had taken Marge and Eric a long time to get pregnant, and their boys were now 14 and 17.